Hey gamers, this is Local Diablo, and I wanted to show you a review on the V20 vampire book. This is not any review on the actual information inside, it's just more on the book itself. So, for those of you who didn't get the V20 book, you know, it's a hardcover book, even if you didn't go to the Grand Masquerade. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but there's slight little stitching along the side. You know, it's a nice, nice book, hardcover, nice hardcover book. You got the silver trim. You know, you got these little things on this little page counter things, little bookmarks. The artwork inside, I think, is is just amazing. It's a combination of new artwork, as you can see here, new colored artwork, and just old classic black and white artwork. And the whole format to this is just, I think, is just really just more of a piece of art than an actual book. But there is one tremendous problem with this, and that is I don't like using it. It's too nice, and I don't want to ruin it. I mean, I've seen what my other vampire books get after, extensive use, and this is just way too nice to be ruining. So I had ordered 3 books from drivethruRPG, where they have printed the Vampire V20 books. So we have the print on demand. I've got the soft cover. This is the soft cover print on demand, black and white. Here is the hardcover black and white book. I have not gotten the colored book. Now the colored book is supposed to be split in half. It's actually like 2 books. I haven't received that yet, but I just received these books today, and so I wanted to show you what they look like for those or who are thinking to trying to decide which one they want, or so I wanted to show you what what they look like. Now, with the soft cover, it actually works pretty well. We're talking about a book that's about 518 pages, 520 pages. First impression is it looks, in my opinion, it kind of looks a little too glossy. The white pages are very, very white, and I can just see fingerprints are going to be showing up on this thing. Every page, and I don't know if I'll be able to show this, but every page has like almost like maybe a half an inch. I probably should measure it. It's probably about a half an inch like white border going around, and in comparison to my V20 limited edition, it appears as though all the pages were shrunk. The artwork, let's see if we can show in comparison some of the artwork. I mean, they don't really lose anything on the artwork. They're pretty light, so that here's the artwork's not that bad. They didn't really lose that much from going from a black and white to color. So here's some more artwork. I'm actually quite impressed with it. Just Now, looking at the character sheet though, I almost wish that they would just gone with almost like a new character sheet than to try to reprint it. Now, if you notice if you look at appearance, so they fixed the problem with appearance. So this is updated. You know, the mistakes that were in the limited edition, I can show you, have been fixed. Okay, so if you look at where appearance is, you don't really see appearance, you see composure, charisma, manipulation, composure. Now, I almost wish they would have went with like a completely new character sheet, because the set, I'm not really sure if you'll be able to see this, but the, like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna drop the camera. So, okay, the problem with doing this style of character sheet, if you're gonna like print this up, it's gonna take a lot more ink than if this was just like a white character sheet with black letters, black words. So everything on here is your photocopiers and your printers. It's gonna print the shading. Also, I wish they would have went with a more of a darker paper. They didn't really need to have this ultra bright pages. That way these borders wouldn't be as noticeable. They just went with a more of a darker shade page. And like I said, I believe I said earlier, I mean, you can even see a reflection. This is very, very almost plastic-like style of of a cover, which just almost, I don't know, it doesn't really do as much for me. I mean, if this was like on the shelf back in the day when I was first started playing, in comparison to the books that they had before were next to it, I think I would have passed up on this and gone with their original books. I mean, I'm not excluding the information in here. This is solely based on how this looks, but I don't see any real major flaws to this. I mean, let's be honest. If you're buying this, you're doing this because you're not afraid to ruin this. I mean, this book, I believe, retailed for about $40. The hardcover, I believe it was $50. And the two books for the hardcover color, I believe, is like $70 or like $80. I haven't received those books yet. When I have, I'll show you those. Now, as for the hardcover, you pretty much have everything with the soft cover. You still have the borders. The information is all exactly the same. And I want to point out too, you notice these blank pages. There is no advertisements in these books. There's no advertisements. I mean, there was advertisements in the... So the advertisements that were, like, yeah, as you can see, Now, as for the binding, this is something I kind of feel like you lose when you go from the soft cover to the hard. It seems like it doesn't open as far. I mean, I seem like I've got a lot more text with the hardcover. It seems like, I don't know. Maybe it's just my imagination, but doesn't really seem like it opens as far. But as for the binding, it seems fairly pretty strong binding. Let's see if we can. Doesn't seem to be, you know, anything. It's probably not. It probably will tear right open. But just looking at it, it feels pretty thick, pretty solid. I definitely feel it has better binding than, you know, per se, like the Pathfinder book. I don't know if you can hear that. That's, you know, it's a pretty good, solid, you know, cover. Here's, you know, the sound of the leather. Still, it's got a very, very glossy, like almost mirrored. As you can see, reflections. I mean, very, very mirrored style cover, which artistically I don't really care too much for. But, you know, to be honest, overall, I am really quite impressed with how these books turned out. Now, I know I was kind of critical earlier, but I'm just really I'm being as nitpicky as I can. I'm trying to point out any little flaw that I could find. So, you know, these are, and to be honest, when I look at these books, you know, versus this book, like this book, you know, almost scares me to want to, you know, use in my game. I don't have the same feeling with this. So solely based on the information, I really do think these are much more viable books to play than my, you know, my Tomb V20. I mean, this is probably just going to go right back on the shelf. So it doesn't, you know, nothing can happen to it. And being that, you know, these are print on demands, I'm not worried if it gets completely destroyed. I'll pick up a new one. So I'm going to end up giving these two books to two of my friends, so you know they have it. And I'm going to keep the colored, the two colored books. Now, again, I is explain. If you get the black and white version, it's one book. It's one whole book. If you get the colored print-on-demand version, they cut the book in half. I don't know exactly how it's going to be cut in half. It hasn't came in yet, but when it does, I'll give a much more extensive review on that. As overall shipping, I mean, I ordered this probably no more later than just last Sunday, and it's, you know, I got them Friday afternoon. I didn't know about it. I just recently saw it was sitting on the table. It's Saturday, 6 a.m. So right now, and I just found them, but they came in yesterday. They came in Friday afternoon. So shipping, printing, and shipping, you know, I think they were talking about maybe, you know, 3 weeks with the printing and shipping, and it came within less than a week. So they must have already had a bunch of these already printed, or it didn't take very long to print. So I think that's going to be it for right now. This is just Local Diablo reminding you that devil's in the details. Thank you. Hey gamers, this is Local Diablo, and this is a add-on review to the review I had done for the White Wolf V20 print-on-demand books. I felt like I really needed to point this out. This is a pretty important topic. Now, I did not have any problems with this, but after further review of the shipping process, I'm not very happy with how this was shipped. Now, understandably, I got my product within within a week time. I was not expecting it. I was probably expecting, you know, 2, maybe 3 weeks to receive it. So I got this, no problems, no damage, no nothing. However, after careful looking at the box, this is pretty much what it was shipped in. I'm gonna have to. So when the books were in here, and they had both books inside this, when they were in here, you know, it was. This is how it pretty much was looking. It was not sealed in any way. Like what you see, this is how I opened it. I opened it like this. This is basically how it's sealed. It was pretty much open to the elements. Now it is winter time. This was not necessarily anything that was, you know, I don't believe it was signed. I didn't sign for it. But it very well, they could have left this outside. You know, it could have been raining. They could have, you know how shipping is. They could be kicking it. They could be, you know, it could get dropped. And the packaging is not in what I would expect. There was no type of bubble wrap. It wasn't even in a real box. It's just more this box that kind of folds up. Even when it is sealed, it is not actually sealed. Like the sides were not sealed at all. And in fact, it was, you know, you could, in fact, it was almost exposed. Now, understanding, I had no problems with the shipping. No problems whatsoever. I have no real reason to complain. It's just more as a warning for anybody who is going to be ordering this. I would almost recommend, now this is the cheapest shipping. I got the cheapest shipping, but I would almost recommend getting a higher grade shipping to prevent possible problems that may occur, or hopefully they put it in a different style box, because I would expect that you would receive your product and it could in fact be damaged. It could be open. It didn't take much to open this. You know, it's just, you know, you just kind of, you open it up and this is how it is. I mean, it wasn't covered in any sort of way. It was not wrapped in any sort of way. And I can understand, I mean, these are 2 big books. These are 2 big books. This is really just a warning that I don't want anyone to get their books and then it just being, you know, it's destroyed. Or even worse, it's not destroyed, but it's damaged to enough where you don't want to return it, or get, you know, just the hassle of trying to contact someone when you got a big scuff mark, or you got, I mean, it wouldn't take much for, you know, I mean, just a little bit of mud or water just to ruin, you know, your really bright white pages. And, you know, again, if this had, I did not have any problems with mine, but I can definitely foresee people out there having their books damaged. And so I would, if you're going to do this, it's not like you have many other options of doing this. If you want this book, you have to go through drive-thru. There's really no, White Wolf's not doing it. So, and you know, you don't really have any other options, but I would definitely recommend paying that little extra money, you know, because these, even the cheapest one, even the software book, this is over a $40 book in itself. I mean, and this is the cheapest you're going to get, and that's still over a $40, you know, investment. So that's not exactly, you know, something that's particularly cheap. But I would be very, very careful on your shipping, and I would actually invest in a higher grade shipping for you. Now, I've never had any problems with drive-thru. I've had a little bit of problems with White Wolf when they were doing their own, sending out their own books, but the quality of White Wolf books I felt have been very, very good. That any problems that had occurred, and I'll show this in later reviews, any problems that occurred, the books weren't damaged. But I have had some shipping problems with them, and never really had any shipping problems drive through, but I've only ordered maybe 3 things, and you know, I would hate for you guys to order this book, you know, and it just comes in and it's just ruined, and then you gotta go through the hassle of getting it reprinted, or even worse yet, you don't want to go through the hassle because it's just a scuff mark, or it's just like maybe, you know, maybe there's, you know, it's just a stain or something like that. You don't want to have to deal with the you don't want to have to deal with them, and that would be just awful. So I just wanted to give that quick warning out, and thank you for watching. This is Local Diablo, reminding you the devil's in the details. Bye. Hey gamers, this is Local Diablo, and I just got, it's 1:17 p.m. About an hour ago, I just got my 3rd order, my Vampire 20th Anniversary Masquerade Edition print on demand. Now the first thing, I mean, obviously if you watched the previous videos, they went with the marble book versus the black book. So I mean, obviously you would have already have seen that, but it's more like the PDF. Now after a little more review on the print on demand book, this is the hardcover black and white. I'm starting to think that this paper, it really seems like just regular printer paper. I don't know if, I mean, it's, I mean, here, I got a piece of printer paper right here. I'm gonna see if you guys can take a look. I mean, it really just comes off like it's this ordinary printer paper. I mean, it's definitely like a higher grade, like white. But I haven't even had this for a day, and I've already got, see if you can see this, I've already got stains like on the paper itself. I mean, if you get these, if you get the black and white versions, you know, you got to be careful about, you know, just your hand fingerprints are going to show up on that. Now, after looking at the print on demand, this is the colored version. I'm actually quite impressed with this. This looks more like just your average White Wolf book. It really doesn't seem as glossy as the black and white. I mean, I don't know if you can. You probably can't tell with this camera, but it does seem like it's slightly different. What's odd about this is my colored version feels heavier than my black and white version, and what's kind of strange with it, my colored version is split into 2 books, and just one half of it, I mean, maybe it's just in my head, but it really feels like the black and white version is lighter than the colored version. The cover of it is feels definitely thicker. It feels definitely sturdier. Feels more like just your average your White Wolf book. The binding really seems a lot better. The paper seems, they're not as ultra light. I mean, here's just in comparison. Here's my colored version. Here's I mean, you can definitely see within, you know, the color of the paper. It's not as white. As you do not get you don't get the trim, so you're not getting that on the black and white. You're not getting that half an inch. And at some pages too, I've noticed, as you can see here, I mean, I don't know how visible that will be. That looks like within, half an inch. But if in some of the other pages, that's larger. So it will, with the black and white, it kind of varies within the border. But you don't get that with the colored version. There's no trim going around it. The artwork looks, I don't know, it looks just as good as the collector's edition. Now, as for splitting in half, all they did was they split it in half. Like this one, well, this is the second half. Now, to tell the difference between the two, they just have volume 1 and then volume 2. That's the only difference. And on the side, volume 1, volume 2. There is no XX on the collector's edition. I don't know how visible this is going to be, but you have XX, and there's you have your Vampire the Masquerade. Now my plastic's covering it, but it actually says Vampire the Masquerade on the side, and it's X, it has XX. Just I think it's represent 20. Plus it was like a almost seemed like a running gag in their books. Refer to page XX. So this is volume 1. Pretty much they just pretty much split it in half. So it ends at 255, and it just starts back up at just starts back up at two. This page is 257, so it just starts right back where the other one left off. It appears to be there's only an index within one of the books at the end. Let me double check. Yep, the index is only on the second book. The character sheet looks a lot better than in the black and white version. Let's see if we can, it looks a lot better in the black and white version. It actually, appears more white in the center. And just to give you a comparison, pull up the black and white version of the character sheet. Sorry, my fingers are not working right. So it's actually, if you can see the shading. You could definitely really compare it when it comes to the border. This is actually darker than the side of the paper. It is, and you don't really get that with the colored version. So I really feel like this is I'd be much more confident of photocopying this page, though I still wouldn't do that. I would just go on a website and print out their character sheet. But because I definitely would not use my V20 character sheet. Though I think it is kind of, it is slightly neat that they have composure replaced with appearance, but there's no real rules backing that up. So let's try to do a comparison to 406. So I'll try to do the comparison between these two books. Okay, so here's the V20 page within so we can compare the artwork. You know, pretty high glossy paper. This is very high glossy paper in comparison to, doesn't appear to be, it's not as glossy, doesn't have that glossy feel to it, but the artwork is very, very similar. They definitely didn't seem to lose anything within the artwork. Now these two books, they retailed about $79 on drivethruRPG. This one's like, I think like $59, somewhere in the $50 range, and this one's in the soft cover is in the $40 range. I actually kind of like the idea that it's split into two different books, because, you know, if as a storyteller, if someone needs a book, maybe they don't, you know, they can easily share within books. So, but I shouldn't have that problem because my players are going to be having the books too. So, but I do kind of like the fact that it is slightly split up. But it's kind of below. You have to hold this to see this, but it really feels like, here's the colored. Really feels like this is heavier than this. Like, I mean, yeah, I mean, it really, this just feels a lot heavier than the full book of this. Obviously, this is much more heavier than this. I mean, I can definitely feel that. But just the binding seems a lot better. Also, if we show off the second book, there's actual advertisements in this book, so they did put the advertisements in the colored. In fact, I believe there's actually more advertisements than in the original. So we see like a blank page. So this is, here's your, you know, your collector's edition. The last page is, you know, is blank. They've got, you know, dust to dust. Still somewhat of a mirrored image, but I don't think it's nearly as reflective as this one. And I'll let you compare. This one, I mean, it's very, it seems very reflective. I don't know, they could be, maybe they're about the same. Still, I feel like the black and white hardcover, even the soft cover, is very reflective, has a very reflective cover. Almost seems more than the other one, but they're probably not. They're probably all equally reflective. But the colored version definitely appears, it reminds me much more of just the way the books were made with the older books. Versus, well, I do remember the older books had bad binding. These do not appear to have bad binding. You know, the binding seems to be, you know, done pretty well. If you see the black and white version, I mean, it's definitely, this is, I definitely can tell this has got a much, the colored version's got a much more stronger binding. Still, you know, I haven't really noticed any flaws with the color version, but I would say the color version is definitely night and day over the black and white version, and you know, that's a good thing because it does cost more. I mean, it is like an $80 price tag. So for right now, this is going to be it, and thank you for watching. This is Local Diablo telling you the devil's in the details. Thank you. Hey gamers, this is Local Diablo, and I'm here to talk about the looks like my 4th installment of my review of the 20th anniversary Masquerade edition, print on demand. Now, last night we had found a problem with this, and that is page 271 is missing. Page 271 is missing. The entire page is. It's been replaced with 145. Now the 145 page was printed twice. It was printed, where 145 is supposed to be, and they seem to have put it in the 271 slot, as you can see here. I'll be able to okay. 270. And sorry, I'm having trouble. Okay, yeah, there it is. 145. So just to show you, this is seems to be a problem with not only just the soft cover but also on the hardcover black and white copy has the exact same problem. Now when I looked at my colored hardcover copy, I turned to that page, and it's in the combat system. This is the correct page that it needs. So the color copy seems to work fine. When I looked at, just to verify, when I looked at the collector's edition one, it was both in this as well. So just to 270, 271, there's the the combat system. That's the page that is missing. Is being replaced with the 245 is the page for the Ravenous clan discipline. So I am going to be contacting drivethruRPG and seeing what we can do to fix it. I am still, even with that mess up, I'm still kind of impressed with their product. If I'm not able to get it replaced or fixed, I would still be keeping this. But I will keep you updated on what their plan is on fixing this problem. Hopefully, if anything, so that they're aware of it. It is not, this problem that I can tell is not in the colored hardcover copy. And so far, that is the only problem that I found so far in these print-on-demands. Now, occasionally this would happen, so I'm hoping that this may be something they may be aware of. Maybe this, because it was supposed to take a couple weeks to print up, and I got the books within a week, and that includes shipping. So maybe this is something that in a pile that was already identified, and they just sent me the wrong book. But I will contact them and see how they can render this mistake, that they can fix that. But I wanted to let you know of this mistake, so when you're thinking about your purchase, into making sure and checking that page and make sure that you have the correct page on there. That's really all that I have at this moment. all I could really find was only real huge problem was of that page. Everything else I truly was just trying to nitpick, but even despite that, I still feel that this is a good buy. Not as much though to me for the hardcover black and white due to the fact that it's $10 more. But I'll be giving these to my friends, and it's not a we've got the PDF. It's not something we would barely even have noticed it had been gone, but it'd been nice to to have the correct page. So thank you for watching, and this is Local Diablo reminding you that the devil is in the details. Goodbye. Hey gamers, this is Local Diablo, and I'm just doing a video update on the updates with what's going on with the V20 print on demand through drivethruRPG. Now, things have been going on this past week, and I kind of wanted to wait until I saw the kind of like the full result of what was going on. I even thought maybe I should wait until the books actually came just to make sure. But I think I need to read these emails. And so I've got 2 emails from DriveThru, and I've got 1 email from White Wolf's CCP. And the first DriveThru email, make sure this is the first one. Yeah, the first DriveThru email I got on Monday, January 23rd. It's, hello, I apologize for your inconvenience. We are certainly get with our printers to get with the issue corrected, and we can get a new copy out to you. If you'd rather that we give you store credit to your account instead, and you can use the credit to make another purchase, please let us know and we can get that processed. Thank you for your business, and please let me know if there's any further assistance. So I sent them an email saying they can just send me the book, and that'll be fine. And then later on I said, well, I don't want to have to deal with another book that's messed up, so I just requested the store credit. So I got another email. Hello, I apologize for your inconvenience. It seems that this was not an issue just with your purchase, but with many copies that we shipped out. In cooperation with White Wolf CCP, those who ordered and received copies with this error will be sent a new copy as quickly as we can get this corrected and new copies processed to you. It should take about a week for the correction, another 3 to 5 days for the printing, and then transition time to your doorstep. Please expect it to take at least 3 weeks, in all possibly longer. Due to this, we are not able to offer you any store credit, but rather we will be sending you the correct product. Thank you for your business, and please let us know if there's any further assistance. And they give further links to where I can email, and I emailed and thanked them for it. And then I get an email from White Wolf, and it it's kind of a little joke in the top of it. It's like, dear Vampire Fangs, we have egg on our faces. It was taking us longer than we expect to print the Vampire 20th edition, available in our resulting haste. A few mistakes slipped past us. And then they kind of go into a list of basically the mistakes with the black and white edition, where it was the missing page that I had showed you, and they give you a link to where you can click on it and get that missing page. And then there was something I didn't realize. They got a mistake with the colored edition. Yeah, so and some color editions have mixed up pages with 219 through 221, resulting in 221 being missing entirely. Those Jameer and their secrets. If volume 1 is from volume 1, if page 221 is missing, then please go to this link. They gave me a link, and I got to fill out Google search thing on it. A little Google thing comes up, and I got to fill in what my account name and stuff, and so then they're gonna ship me a new colored edition now. I know that you may not receive the book yet. Please check if when you receive it. The form will remain open for several more weeks. Just check your copies when they arrive. In the meantime, here's the missing page, and they give me another link for the missing page. We appreciate the print program and apologize for the error. So when I first read that, and I checked to make sure that it indeed was missing. So I just want to. Okay, so we got 218, we got 219. So everything seems to be looking right. Then you turn to the next page, and let's see if I can try to. Then we got 219 again and 220. Turn to the next page, and we got 222. So it turns out that 221 was in fact missing on the colored edition. I just want to quickly point out this is my book cover that I have. I guess all this stuff is like three-dimensional, so like when you wear these 3D glasses, it pops out. So looks like apologize, I didn't notice this when I was first looking through the color edition, but the color edition was in fact missing a page as well. They printed 219 twice and left out 221. So at this time, this is really just it. I'll keep you further updated on anything else that happens. So I filled out the little form and supposed to be getting another print-on book. And I just kind of point out that despite these errors, I have never seen a role-playing company replace their books like this. Normally they give you some sort of link, or you go on a website and you get that missing page, or if these errors were on there, they come out with, when later editions they come out with an error page, or with the newer books they come out with like these are all the things that were messed up, and there'll be like a whole page on the mess ups. So I'm quite impressed with how White Wolf has been handling this, and the fact that they are replacing my books. I am thankful for that. I hope they do come. I hope I filled out everything right, because that does kind of suck when you pay. The colored version was like $80, so spent not including shipping. So having to pay that amount, then having it being messed up like that, not too cool. But thankfully they are fixing their problem, and I'm sure that is not like a cheap mistake to fix. So this is I'll keep you updated later on. So this is Local Diablo, reminding you that the devil's in the details. Thank you. Hey Web, this is Local Diablo, and today is Saturday, March 3rd, 2012. This is an update to the print on demand with White Wolf, and I have gotten all my books now, and they have fixed all the problems. So I've gotten all my books back, including the hardcover print on demand, the soft cover, the hardcover black and white copy. All those have now been returned and fixed. And I just wanted to thank White Wolf for fixing the problem. Even some of the problems I didn't even find. They contacted me to inform me of this, and so I'm glad they did, and they sent me the books fairly speedily. And so I said I would update this when this occurred, and So it sounds like they have, in fact, at this point in time, fixed the problems. So this is great. And at this point in time, this is Local Diablo reminding you the devil's in the details. Bye.